Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 83 of the OG Technically Trek. I am your humble host, Dave Prime, and over on my right, filling in for Katie, who's under the weather, is the president of the United Federation of Planets, Travis. How's it going, good man? My good man.
Well, I can say it's going great and all and everything else. I mean, right now, I don't know if you are aware, Dave, but tonight is game 3 of the World Series in
Yeah.
LA. In
Yeah.
LA. In
Well,
LA. I know.
it should have been LA and the Mariners, but the Mariners love them to death. See, I've
Yeah,
been a Mariners fan for decades, and I cried a little bit when they just couldn't pull through. But it it's a learning
yeah.
experience for them. They could have done better. They lost two critical games at home with the home crowd. They could have swept the the Blue Jays, but it didn't happen. It would have been great in I-5 rivalry, say Seattle up to the north, LA to the south. That would have been outstanding.
You know what? The little
Seattle's the
West Coast rivalry, a little West Coast rivalry, it would be good. But the rivalry right now is the Toronto Blue Jays and the LA Dodgers, the Canadian team and the American team. It's a friendly little rivalry thing. It's all in spirit of fun and everything else and stuff. Not to say that's what's happening that's been going on this whole year in this current administration and stuff and everything else, but it highlights the thing that shows that we and Canada can have a spirit of friendly, you know, uh, uh, rivalry. We can have a
yeah.
spirit of rivalry and still go away, shake each other hand, and you know, and be friends at the end of the day. Not with this current administration and stuff and everything else. There are those Americans who are cheering for the Toronto Blue Jays just to stick it one to this administration. But I don't want to get too politicking into this.
Yeah, because we've already lost 5 viewers, so let's stop talking baseball. I just
Oh,
realized
re-
I forgot to put my teeth in today. Whoops.
Quick housekeeping here, real quick, and all and everything else. I just wanted to throw out a couple of little trivia, not trivia, but little fun facts about some things that I like to do in the spirit of like, oh, these are little fun facts and stuff and everything. This coming
Mhm.
Friday will mark the anniversary of what we have learned in the entertainment world, and it really was the start of something in radio broadcast too. On October the 30th in 1938,
War
Orson
of the
Welles'
Worlds.
War of the World. Yeah, War of the Worlds. And it will mark a very interesting turning point of how people thought of oh my goodness, am I hearing the truth and stuff? Even though it was a disclaimer in the beginning, people they didn't even pay attention to the disclaimer, and they really thought that what Orson Welles was broadcasting in radio was not an alien invasion and stuff and everything else. So I just wanted to throw that little pop culture type thing out there too.
Oh yeah,
Also too,
people still absolutely freaked out. Okay, this is not going to work.
oh yeah. Uh, Also too, this this past Friday was my 47th birthday.
Happy birthday,
And
man.
well, I appreciate that. Well, 47 is to me it's a really significant number. I know you probably seen it when I posted it on Facebook and stuff and everything.
Well,
But also
it's
too, I wanted to say this. Uh uh this year marks the 80th anniversary of the UN being formed. So actually, uh, the charter part of the UN started on October the 24th, 1945. So I share a birthday with the UN in a sense because that year it was signed. The UN thing was signed in June the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. But the charter part and stuff like that really started on October the 24th, 1945 and stuff and everything. And then for us Star Trek fan, and if you a Star Trek fan, anybody who likes Star Trek, the number 47 is, I posted this on Facebook, and I'm not sure if a lot of people have seen this and everything else, but the number 47 has become a kind of like a running, it was is like a running joke, but the original significant 47 can be traced all the way back to Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek Voyager. Writer Joe Mes- Mesky, Mesky or something like that.
Miskowski
He
or
he attended Pomona College in California, and there was a club there at Pomona, was what was called the 47th Society, which claimed that there is existence a mathematical proof that the number 47 and the number 47 can be that can be traced in some ways. They said in I guess, I don't know, the nature or something. Is, it can be found somewhere in nature or something like that. But also too, that he was a writer, and he was a part of this society and stuff. So, you know in um in the fourth season of Star Trek Next Generation, he put that, he wrote that into um the scripts and stuff and everything, just a little reference and stuff and everything else. And it didn't take them long to catch on to, the 47 thing that, they talked about and everything else. And I have always been aware of the number 47, because I always kept saying, well, 47 keeps popping up in, you know, it's popped up frequently. I remember, in TNG, DS9, and Voyager, and
mhm.
then, in kind of some movies and stuff and everything else. But then, I never really paid attention, but I just remember, 47 always been kind of like a little thing. I did not know about it until I did my research, years ago, about, why 47 become this kind of significant number and stuff and everything else. And it has, and you can go and find this on the net too, because according to, the 47th Society, they say that, it's some sort of mathematical proof that, pops up in nature and stuff and everything. That's just me. I'm just, you know I'm telling you, I'm not a mathematician or anything like that, but I just want to throw that out there, because it's one of the numbers I use when I play the lottery. And it's one whenever I play the lottery, I use 47, believe it or not.
I never even thought of using that as one of the numbers, but also I do recall hearing that when they came up with the 47 and intermixing it in various Star Trek episodes and series since, is that it's kind of a dig on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, with the number 42 being the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. So for 47,
Absolutely.
it's 42 with interest.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so funny. And then, my birthday was Friday, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do this once, because I mean, I live once. You only turn, a number once in your lifetime and everything. 47. So I was just like, you know what, 47. Throw it out there. I posted that on Facebook about, like, so anybody who's a Star Trek fan and stuff like that, do yourself a favor. Once in a while, play 47. If you do play the number 47 and stuff like that. I'm 47 now and stuff. So it's one of those little fun tidbit things and stuff. If you're a Star Trek fan, who knows? You might hit the number, you might not hit the number and stuff.
Let's see. Tyson, have you ever played 47 during the lotto?
Well, I'm sure I have. I've done both quick pick and, pick your own numbers, and I'm sure 47 had to be in there at some point.
Hello,
Is
stranger.
47 the is 47 that random number they did that whole science show on?
Maybe?
Or is it 37? I think 37. When asked to pick a number from 0 to 99, any number, just randomly, more people picked 37 than any other number, just
Hmm?
statistically. And it was a weird psychological reason why they did that. I don't know. I have to look into it. It wasn't 47, it
Uh,
was 37. But I'll have
yeah,
to
see, but
anyway.
Yeah, it's I just remember reading that one day that they're just saying that they use 47 because it's 42 with interest from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Ah, well, I apologize that I've been absent, and I
So
will likely
yes, you
be.
have been greatly missed.
I will continue to be absent for coming episodes. Part of the reason is that I'm moving, and I think Dave and maybe a few of our listeners can sympathize that you don't really know how much shit you have until you move. You
Yeah,
start packing,
yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, I have this, and you have to go through the garage, the kitchen. You don't realize how much crap you have.
Yeah.
Especially
It's
with the square footage you're downsizing to.
Yeah, I'm going to a motorhome. So, like the bed behind me, that can't come with me. The motorhome has a bed, and the bed is built into the motorhome, right? I mean, I might be able to swap the mattress, but the bed, the headboard, the footboard, all that can't come with me. All these dressers and everything you see here, they can't come. Well, I don't think you can see it here, but I've got dressers. Trust and believe I have dressers. They can't come with like. So what do I leave behind? Do I throw it away? Do I sell it? Is there a nearby friend who could use it? It's just so much. And then that's not even starting, the internet service here is awful. So, I have a very special service called Lightwave where I've got a microwave dish on my roof that is aimed at a nearby mountain. And that's how I get my 400 megabits per second. Because there is no fiber optics, there is no cable, there is no, and in a motorhome, it's going to be extra hard trying to get that internet service. And the work I
So
do
just
is all online.
yeah, just point the
Oh,
dish at the mountain. Hopefully you got
Well,
a good line of sight.
I have to get, well, the service I have here likely has to stay here because everybody who's going to continue to live here after I move uses that internet. So I'm going
Mm.
to have to get, I'm going to try to get the same company, of course, but will they install a microwave dish on top of a metal RV? I don't know. And it's not
Well,
built into a home because they're not going to be putting it on a home. They're going to be putting it on a motor home, which doesn't have a fixed address. And there's, billing questions about that, So I don't know. It's really, hold on. Somebody is screaming here to say hi. Just say hi real quick
oh,
because
and
I
Katie's
gotta go.
he
gonna
is
hate it.
missing this.
I mean,
Mwah!
she
All
has
right.
Oh,
gotten she has gotten huge.
She's a fat little thing with really sharp claws.
Uh,
Mwah.
see,
Are you gonna meow for us? Meow for us?
I can
There we
relate, Tyson.
go. Oink.
See, I
Yes.
got kiboshed by the alley cat outside 2 days ago.
Oh, they seem so
oh.
nice when you pet them, and then they turn on
Oh,
you like that.
oh yeah.
You
See,
ever
I
see
mean,
you ever see the
it's
cartoon called Top Cat or Garfield?
no,
Yeah.
but there's been many names for this cat. But I mean, it's taken months for her to. I'll just sit down. She'll start warming up to you. She'll start rubbing up against me. She purrs, and since I start scratching her, she purrs some more. Then all of a sudden, it
Yep.
then runs off.
Oh, I've got a really fluffy cat too. Got all these fur all over me now. So yeah, if I'm not here next Monday or the Monday after, it's between now and December that I'm packing and moving and unpacking and stopping service and starting service. And
Oh,
Mike has
fun
already moved to
Oh,
times.
yes, we
Arizona,
absolutely
so
Oh
we get it.
wow.
We
Yeah.
get it. We get it. We all know that, your absence has been because of the move and stuff. And, I mean, Manu dropped in what's that, a couple of weeks ago, and he
Yeah,
gave
two
us
weeks ago. Yeah,
a little update on, the
dangerous thoughts
DT
and
space
click
and stuff
tight
and
and
everything.
he's got a lot going on with ClickTight, number one. So I think this is just between you, me, and everybody on the internet. I'm just going to spill his business, right? He's got a lot going on with ClickTight, and that really is, his passion, and I want that to be successful for him. In addition to Val's dad, I think he put that he put that on social media. So I'm not saying anything that isn't known, but I
yeah,
believe he
so
had a
just
pretty serious
phys-
concussion, was in the
medical
hospital.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
well, just
Um,
mostly medical issues. So yeah,
Medical issue, and then Val has continuing medical issues, of course. So, he's got a lot going on. But of course, Dave, you're much closer to him than I am. You know, I'm sure you and Casey still talk, and
Casey.
Cassie,
Classy.
Cassie. Did I say Casey? Cassie. Oh my God, I'm having a. You know what? Fuck it, Brett. Don't no. Don't say I said that. But I'm sure you guys still
Oh
talk,
yeah,
and
so
I'm
you know,
not
well,
supposed to use his real name.
yeah, Cassie and I were gonna try and find some time to meet
Yeah,
here tomorrow to talk some business opportunities. Won't go into too many
nice,
details about that, but it's like I'm
nice.
excited. But I have to try and squeeze that into having a follow up with my doctor about the tests I took to see if I'm on the autism spectrum or not. And then I got another resident that I'm going to be having moving in here tomorrow. So just like I got a full plate going.
You know what? Dave, and I'm just going to say this. You know, I think we're all on the autism spectrum somewhere.
Hmm.
You know,
But when
just
you
somewhere.
look
All
at
of us
my
have
history,
have kinks and have weird things about us that
I was just thinking because we not get too off track and everything, but Reginald Barkley, Lieutenant
oh,
Reginald Barkley. Did y'all ever feel
definitely
that,
are.
you look back, did he, even though he was smart and he was, he was bright and everything, he just seemed kind of like our little, he was on the
the
spectrum.
Oh,
the
Yes,
character,
I'm
absolutely.
trying,
obviously not the actor,
the
but yes,
actor.
but
But
but the character, did present things that would, autism isn't one thing. It is a spectrum, and it can anywhere from nonverbal to absolutely functional and everything in between. There's just so many things that get kind of lumped into that
yeah,
autism diagnoses.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's so what? If you do,
Yeah.
you do. It's
Well, like I said, we
But
are glad that you appreciate you joined us tonight for the short time that you were here because we know you do your radio thing, and just like Tyson, everybody, just remember you guys can come and join us live if you want to. But if you're camera shy and you don't want to appear like we are, you can have your camera off. mm, You know, just you can have a mask or something, whatever, and you are able to keep yourself, hidden and everything. We can just hear your voice and stuff, or you can join us in chat, and all and everything else. But also too, Dave, don't forget about our wonderful sponsor,
our partner, yeah, they say they're not a sponsor; they're just a partner. But
our
yeah, if you
partner.
use the code TechTrek TEKTREK on their website w.gg, it's a great energy drink. You get a nice little tub. It's got 30 servings, so it breaks down to about $2 a drink. And yeah, there's a variety of crazy names and flavors. They partner with they do a partnership with Solo Leveling, an anime series that has some crazy drinks with that. They're coming up with new flavors all the time. But if you use that code down there, TEKTREK, you get 10% off any non-bundled product. So if they start put like 4 or 5 different things together, you're getting a discount already. So they don't want to give you a discount on the discount. But if you're just getting one off or making your own bundle, you get 10% off your order by using Tech Trek for your little code. So
love
yeah.
Solo Leveling, by the way. Great anime. And I'm crushing on a couple of new, not new, actually they've been around, but new to me because I didn't know about them when I started watching them. There you can find them on Amazon. Has Been Hotel and Hell of a
Mm.
Boss. Those are
Those are on my watch list. Mm.
yes, though. Oh my God, they're musicals. They started by the same person, exist in the same universe, but they are completely different
Yeah.
shows. Although there was a teaser that there's going to be some crossovers and coming up, which I'm
Sounds
really
like
excited about.
something that another franchise been doing for over 30 years.
Yeah, it's I'm excited. I have to say I love those two. Empok Nor, Empok
Yes,
Yes.
Nor.
that's a like definitely high on the creepy scale, especially Porpichetti. That I mean, granted, I've watched the episode enough times I was expecting it, but the first few times that when that Cardassian came crashing through the plate glass window to yank him through, just like yeah, just makes you jump every time. So
And
A jump scare.
Garrick kind of gets a
Garrick.
little evil. Garrick,
Yeah, yeah,
am I right?
yeah.
Am I
Garrett.
Well, that's
getting
not
name?
like it's not like you said Garrett for a second
No, I
there.
said Garrick. Garrick. Elam Garrick to be specific. But he gets a little hardcore in this episode, if I recall.
Oh yeah, he started tripping balls on that second trip of drug.
Right.
Yeah, but the
So
quick.
he's yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking that's one of the notes that I wrote. Where did the goo that he touched on the railing come from, and just how did they? Was it always there? Did one of the Cardassians that got woken up from their hibernation? Did they put it there thinking that Garrick was going to grab that exact spot?
It-
Well, one, we don't
yeah,
know if that was the only place. Two, they
Mm,
heavily booby trapped it.
yeah.
And if it was to be, if Cardassians were to come back to it, you know, then the Cardassians, you turn them into super soldiers, and if non-Cardassians come, it doesn't. It only affects Cardassians, right? Was that?
correct.
Well,
And it
this is the thing that I
amplifies
this is when Garrick said he analyzed the compound and stuff. He basically broke it down and said, "Look, this compound was created in the sense of bringing out the xenophobia in his people." It was basically to do it did everything it did, but it basically brought out the worst of the worst in the Cardassians and stuff and everything else.
Right.
I was looking at when I went back and rewatched this episode, I started to think about this the term when he said the xenophobia and stuff and everything else. Imagine us human beings creating there was a drug or some sort of chemical and stuff like that to bring out our most darkest xenophobia and stuff like that, or
Oh, there
if you
is.
apply that to real life and
No,
stuff.
no, there is a drug. It's called MAGA, and it does exactly that. Tell
Christ,
me
this
I'm
is why we
lying.
miss you.
Tell me I'm lying.
you're not.
If that drug is as you say,
Very
toxic and stuff and
contagious.
everything,
Very
it's
contagious. Very
contagious.
toxic.
Then
It's
guess
yeah.
what? Leave it alone. Don't take it. Don't even bother with it and everything else. But I'm just thinking about like this particular because when they were sitting there talking um, in the corridor with Nog and the chief, and they were just talking about it, I was just thinking, oh my goodness, why would the Cardassians create such a drug like that to bring out the worst of the worst in them, even though they already have this superiority complex about themselves and about other species and stuff, but it just turns them into raging,
Well, right. It wouldn't see again if it's booby trapped, right? It wouldn't affect anybody other than Cardassians. So any Cardassian
Cardassians.
that came there would instantly defend the station, if you will, against any
Yeah,
non-Cardassian. So
Cardassians.
it could have been intentionally left there. It could have been accidentally dropped there. It could have been, and the Cardassians wouldn't care if,
Well,
if another Cardassian came in contact with it because it would only mean protecting the station, right?
and they was, I guess they said something like they was like some sort of experimented on or something because they was
Yeah.
part of the Third Order, you know, and they's like what did one of them said death to all. They had that
Mm.
motto death to all. That was one of their
Is that
mottos. Some
similar to the Obsidian Order?
the Third
I don't know
Order.
what the Third Order versus
Well,
Obsidian Order.
They was part of probably the Central Command. They wasn't probably with
most likely.
with the Obsidian Order and
Obsidian
stuff.
Order.
Yeah, they were they usually are most of the time at that time we saw them dealing with the Cardassian Central Command, which were the military part, not the intelligence part.
Well, I want to say Garrick was part of that. His father certainly was.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They operated. I mean, we seen Garrett had that chip implanted in his head. And was it the wine or something? And it's one of those things where Cardassians they really wrote the Cardassians in a way in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. They really wrote the Cardassians in such a way that you just be like, you it's hard for you to even like them. It's hard for you to even like. I mean, you could talk to them and like Garrett was one thing, but then this episode brought out one of the worst things because in the runabout when they was approaching, when they was going to Empok Nor. Did y'all remember the little conversation when Garrick and Nog was, playing the game, and Nog was thinking of like a Ferengi, where he was thinking like a Cardassian. And then he asked, O'Brien if he wanted to play, and then he threw out O'Brien's war record, or I should say his war history and stuff and everything else. He kind of kept throwing that little thing in. I'm like, that's it sounds
He can be
something.
indelicate, yeah, but there was
Yeah,
something about Andrew Robinson that I don't
Oh,
know.
absolutely.
He brought life to that character. Who
yes, he did.
doesn't love Garrick, right? Like he was one of my favorite. And between him and the Doctor, they're back and forth, and it's just and Garrick, you never knew whose side he was on. And Garrick would say he was always on his own side, right? But um, it's just, I loved him. And this was a Nog heavy episode.
Oh yeah.
There's been a few Nog heavy episodes, but this is one of them. Obviously, the one where he lost his leg, and when he came back from that. Um, but this one, and remember when Nog looks out the window and sees the
About
shuttle
Runabout
flying
tunnel.
away? Yeah,
This
Yeah,
you're right,
and
but
when Rob when I mean Rob when Nog um first stepped onto the runabout, all like, ready for like some sort of, he looked like he's ready on some hunting expedition or something because he had a phaser rifle and stuff and everything else.
oh,
And he saw all, he
if
saw all. It was crazy seeing all these other, trained Starfleet officers, and then he come aboard, and it's like he was still in like his cadet training, stage and stuff and everything else, and he did not know what to expect. And watching this, and it was good to see Nog and not Nog and Chief O'Brien and Garrick, not with the main cast of the show, but with like lower tier, like we got their names, Pachetti, Stosov, and Amaro and stuff like that. We got these names, stuff like that. And it was great to see interacting without seeing the main cast and seeing how they portray Nog in this particular episode as he's learning. He's still learning, you know, that Starfleet isn't all that grandeur and nice and stuff and everything else. You're going to see some pretty hard stuff. And then when Garrick took him hostage, mm,
that was yeah, kind of a lower decks episode, right? Because
a
it
little
had
bit,
lower deck
yeah.
characters.
Yeah, because
Um,
like that's one thing. Yeah, just the very beginning of the episode when Dax and Kira and Worf were going to lunch, and then they shuffle out to the Klingon restaurant, and then the brief bit with Cisco, then Bashir at the very end. This was essentially just an A plot episode. So there's no side story at all going on here
yeah, yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah. I like that. I like they continue. It was just this particular episode was heavily featured about them on a separate space station, and it really it shows you too, the difference in how dark that Star Trek, because Next Generation did some dark things, but they didn't do anything this kind of dark and stuff and everything up until then and stuff, because it was pretty, like, oh my goodness, these characters,
yeah,
are in for it and everything else. And guess what? They wasn't red shirts. They were not red shirts or anything. They were not red shirts and stuff. It's
each
like,
but each successive Star Trek has done that. So yeah, Next Generation wasn't very dark, though they had the odd episode, right? Then we have Deep Space Nine with the Dominion War. That there was some dark crap there. Then we had Voyager, which with the what was that other starship? Um,
The Equinox.
the Equinox, killing
oh
life
yes,
forms to try to, that was some pretty unethical, dark stuff. Then we get into
yeah,
Enterprise. Boy, do they do some. They even steal a warp drive from, friendly aliens because they're trying to save Earth. And I get that they're trying to save Earth, but stealing a warp drive like that was pretty shady crap.
Oh, work foil, but yeah.
And then we get into even more, and we never hear, did they go back and try to give them back to warp coil once they
Exactly.
saved the.
It never like Archie did not even ask the Zindi, hey, look, can y'all send the ship to help you people because we did something bad to them and stuff,
Can
and
you
it did
send AAA? They need a tow.
you
Yeah.
know.
You know they, you know, yeah. I mean, it's that kind of, if it ended with, somebody came and saved them or something, I'd have been happier, but they did.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once we got into Discovery, the Discovery era, right? So this is all Star Trek that started with Discovery and came after has had a lot of darkness. So Discovery, Picard, um, Strange New Worlds, um,
Even Lower Decks had a few.
Lower Decks had a few. I wouldn't say there was. I mean, there
It
was
can't be
a
dark.
little bit in Prodigy, but not as much because Prodigy really was geared
Yeah.
towards kids.
Yeah,
Uh,
season two. Even though we haven't really, we here on Technically Trek, we never discussed season two of Prodigy, but I mean that was some dark stuff
yeah,
for for a kids cartoon. I was like, holy crap! I mean, those things were
but it
scary for
left
me.
adults enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I still haven't finished season two of Prodigy. I got to go back and finish it.
Well,
Um,
you'll love the last episode.
okay, I do have to say I love Star Trek in general. We all have our favorite series and our least favorite series, but
Oh yeah.
um, there's nothing that I would, if I was perusing through channels and any iteration of Star Trek happened to be on, I'd probably stop and watch it,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
compared to anything else out there. But
and Star Trek turns 60 next year, so next year is going to be Star Trek 60th anniversary, and I suspect that there are going to be a lot of people who's going to be celebrating 60 years of Star Trek. From all the way from the TOS. I know there are a lot of people who are not TOS fans, but for a lot of us who grew up watching the TOS in the beginning, and then we transitioned into yes, yes, and we transitioned it into TNG,
right,
DS9, and Voyager, and also and Enterprise. We all become really fan, like you just mentioned, Tyson, about some people have their most favorite love of different series and stuff and everything. And for me, I have a virtual around whirlwind of liking them all. We can find faults in why one could be better than the other and everything else. That's a big debate among us Star Trek fans across the whole world as a whole and stuff. But you know
right,
the whole premise of Star Trek in general and stuff and everything else that we can find like commonality in and stuff and everything else. And I really do appreciate it. Like this particular episode, like I really appreciate because this particular episode was just I believe 2 episodes away from the season finale of Deep Space Nine's what's that, the 5th season, going into the start of the Dominion War, which became, this big story arc that we seen from the 6th season into the 7th season and stuff and everything else. And it was just leading right up into that because I would never forget just how, at that time when I was young watching this, I was a teenager, and I remember I was just thinking what the season finale is going to be like. I'm like, because they kept talking about war. I'm thinking war is going to break out. This was this episode, in a sense, Empok Nor was not a war episode, stuff like that. It was such a different type of episode than leading up to the season finale of the Dominion War started and stuff. And it was one of those, like we just said, one of these dark phases of showing that, if the characters that we enjoy have a dark side to them. And of
yep,
course, a drug brought out the dark side to, Garrett, in you know, his way of thinking because when he was monologuing the whole time about Chief O'Brien and stuff and everything else, I'm sitting there like, one thing that Cardassians like to do is to hear themselves talk. That's one thing that they really enjoy doing, and it's
They
just like,
love to talk.
yes, they do. And Garrick and Ducat, they did it quite a bit. They did that quite often throughout the entire series.
I have a question because there's always a debate among the fans when they say how many TOS movies were there, and people say six. I always say six and a half. I don't know if that's
six and a third.
fair. Six and a
Well,
third. Well, then there's the end, and no, even the middle
yeah,
because Kirk is
yeah. So
so
yeah, so
six
about
and a
six
half,
and a half. Yeah,
Six and a
close.
half, yeah,
Six
yeah.
six
point
and a half.
four.
Um,
But it's not. They immediately jump to six. Oh, there were six. Technically, there were six and a half. I wouldn't say seven, but I would definitely say six and a half.
okay, okay. I like that. I like that little technically,
And
Yeah,
thing there that you
I
just
mean, it
gave.
starts out TOS, right?
yeah.
It really do. It really does. I was genuinely surprised when Star Trek Generation started out because I was flabbergasted because I never thought in my wildest to see the next iteration of the
The
Enterprise,
Enterprise B, yeah.
which I was just like, whole, and they kind of redesigned. They did too much redesign, but they redesigned a little bit of the what the Excelsior class looked like and stuff. And I was
It
genuinely
was it was
surprised.
still an Excelsior class. It was a
Oh
modified. It
yeah.
was like an Excelsior refit, but it was
Well,
still an Excelsior class.
the reason why that the Enterprise B had those fins at the front around the deflector dish is so that they could blow it up without destroying the Excelsior model.
Oh, that's a little fun fact I did not know.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That's why they put those little things on there because they was just a little add on to
Oh.
the Excelsior. The Nexus blew it off and
Well,
they just
but
scuffed it out.
a little bit of their deflector dish was damaged,
Yeah,
Damage.
but
which
Yeah.
still,
they would have
it's
had to fix that. But yeah, the Excelsior, it was an Excelsior class, just future iteration of the Excelsior class, and it was beautiful starship, and it was originally written for Scotty, Kirk, and McCoy, but
Yes.
McCoy, being too old and ill, couldn't do it, and so they got Chekhov. They got Walter Koenig to come on board. So that's why a lot of the lines seem more geared like you've just become nurses, come with me. That was supposed to be a Dr. McCoy line.
Mm,
Um, but they kept it in there, and Chekhov, you know, said the line that was meant for McCoy. In any event, yeah, it does start with the old uniform and even the old warp speed effect.
I
You
like
know,
yeah,
that. I
I
like that.
love I love that they keep things, because the warp effect, the and I don't know that they showed the beaming effect of the Excelsior, but there's a very classic TOS movie beaming, which are the blue beams that come down in lines and then
Ye-
separate, which is not, it seems like every iteration of Star Trek has its own unique beaming. It looks different across all the series. So when they blend it, I love it. What was the next gen episode where Picard gets mind controlled by the Ferengi and then he gets his Stargazer back, and um what was that
yeah.
episode?
I know. Wow.
I know what you're talking about. The battle.
Yes,
Yeah, so
the battle.
and remember when he does that maneuver where the ship appears to be in two places at once? And if you notice, when he went to warp, it was the movie warp. It wasn't the next gen
Yes.
warp with the stretching of the ship. It
Yep.
had the movie warp effect. But the Stargazer had the old nacelles on it, like the movie,
Mhm.
like the Constitution did. So it had that appropriate warp effect. The one thing that I hated in next gen, and I do have to go. I'm just looking at my watch. I can't believe it's quarter after six already, uh, or quarter after seven where you are, and probably quarter after nine where you are.
Yeah.
Um, but the one with Scotty, Relics, was that the name of
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah, it
Relics.
had
Uh,
Yep.
the
yeah,
original beaming.
yeah, but that had the original TOS beaming. But if you
Mm-hmm.
looked at Scotty's shuttle, it had the redesigned warp, the warp nacelles of the 1701A,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It had those warp nacelles. It had that design. It looked like it was from that era. So I would have expected that blue beaming instead of the TOS because that ship was
Would
far too new to have that version of transporter. Um, so that kind of irked me a little bit. I really would have liked to see the
nostalgia.
blue.
Nitpicky stuff and everything else. I guess they didn't find the continuity in and stuff like that. Like some fans may find it, the that little thing what you just said about the materialization of the beaming process and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of fans would see that one versus the newer and stuff. It's like, yeah, it was 70 years. It would have been a 70-year gap. That
If they
ship
would have
was
used
70
an
years old.
older ship that had that 60s look to it, I probably wouldn't have been pissed, because he
Yeah.
could have got on a 50-year-old ship, right? That was fine. But the ship he was on was the Aztec class. It shouldn't have done that. Anyway, but I do love that later when he goes to the holodeck and he goes to the 1701, it doesn't give him the refit. It gives him the original 1701.
Oh yeah. That's what he wanted. That's what he asked
Right.
for. That
But not
and
the
I really
well, even
appreciate
the
it.
refit was like there was the 1701 refit before the A, right? There
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
refit, and that bridge
yeah.
looked a lot nicer, and they could have had that bridge, and it would have been the 1701, but they kept the really old classic 60s bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if that was computer generated or if they had to build that set from scratch.
It was a little bit of both, if memory
Yeah,
serves,
I think there was a little bit
because
of both.
yeah, because I mean, you could totally tell with some of the shots that it's a green screen behind them, but like they did use a composite of what little girls are made of. I think it was that episode where they had like a shot of the bridge and they were able to get whatever people in the shot out of it. So there's a
Okay,
little
okay.
bit of both. And okay,
Well, the
get
things
out of my
were all
ear.
lit up and all the stuff was there, so it was, it wasn't like a
Yeah,
still picture, right? It
oh yeah.
was it
No,
was it
but yeah,
was
like
a
the tight shots, there was real things going
yeah.
on there. So, but like the whole entire bridge, no. But
Actually,
yeah, like
before you
it's
go, you got to show Katie her little
Uh-huh.
oh
favorite person
yeah,
before you go.
All right, come here,
yeah.
Sir
So did
Scratch or Miss Scratch a lot. All right, come here. Say hi to Katie. Up to the hello. Say
she's
hello.
gotten so big.
She's gotten big.
Huh, right on the nose. You know what she does at night now? She
Mm.
sleeps with me in bed, and she'll come up to my face while I'm trying to sleep, and she'll lick my nose. I think it's
Aw,
revenge for all of that.
aw.
So at night she'll come up and lick my nose, and I'm like I'm trying to sleep. Fine if you give me
Just
kisses while I'm awake, but when I'm trying to sleep, it's like freaking Odie, like slurping your face.
not
All right,
Odie. Take care, Tyson.
boy,
Be
nobody
safe and
slurped
be
like
well.
Odie, right? All
Oh
right, you
God.
too.
Be safe and be well.
Talk to you later,
You
man.
too. Bye bye.
Right. Alrighty. But
Casey,
yeah, we
Katie,
just
we do
we
understand it. You are, we are always, with you, and we
okay.
think of you.
I'll be right back. Someone's knocking at my door. They should know. Leave me alone.
Okay. I can't talk to myself at this point and everything else, but I know you hear Katie and stuff and everything. But like, um, we were just talking, about this particular episode in a sense, how, and I think you would have had some good input into it because, of the psychotropic drugs, you know, that, in the in the way in the way, psychology of behavior and stuff and everything else. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's that time of the season. Yeah, yeah, people here. I got some coworkers who have been under the weather and they have called off and stuff.
Saying
Yeah,
I tried to get ahead of it. See, I went and got my flu shot on Thursday, but on about halfway through the day on Friday, I was sneezing uncontrollably. I could not stop. I'm just like, I was doing some praying, say, please make it stop because I'm just like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
I got
on Saturday, I things were coming out the other end. So I was not a happy camper.
my wonder is Star Trek. have in the 24th century, in the 25th, 24th, what is it, 25th, 20, well, just in general, I could say that the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, have they discovered the cure for the common cold? I mean,
I did. I
it,
think Crusher actually mentioned it,
the
and
common cold was cured.
yeah,
It's
uh,
like, you don't see, they never even talked about like people catching viruses. People have caught viruses, but like they don't just commonly just get sick in the world of Star Trek. Be like, oh, I came down with this, nausea, headache, or upset stomach and stuffiness. Of course, you in space, you're not supposed to have like stuffiness and stuff like that. But like a virus can live on the surface of type of things. But like you're in a hermetically sealed ship and stuff. But anyway,
yeah.
not
Saying
too far off track.
yeah. I think it was. Yeah, it was, ironically, I think it was in the battle. Is saying that Crusher made a comment about the common cold, but there's like another um like data lore it may have been mentioned as well. See, I'm just
Oh,
looking
look,
at Memory Alpha
real
right now,
quick,
but
to anybody who's watching us and who's a baseball fan. Uh, the World Series is being played in LA, and the Toronto Blue Jays is 3, and the LA Dodgers is 2.
so still a tight game, but oh well. I
Yes,
say,
like
but
and subscribe to this channel.
yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Saying, I mean, we're definitely going deep into technically on the technically trek tonight, but yeah, saying liking, subscribing that helps us. I mean, we're still a long ways off from being able to start making money on these chats and everything. But I mean, every little bit helps.
Monetization. And
Yeah.
you can come and join us if you want to.
Yeah, got 8
Either,
slots available for you. Just use
yeah.
if you're well. I say Zach doesn't have us linked to his channel tonight, so on that. But yeah, just at the StreamYard link below it on YouTube there. Just click on that. That'll get you access to be able to come on the air. It'll, like I said, and Travis has said, it'll give you the option of sharing or not sharing your camera, and that yeah, so you can still talk. You can be seen and not heard, or heard and not seen. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, I would say we are one. We might be the only Star Trek podcast that actually encourages that type of participation. Everyone else, not knocking any of them, they say they just got all the YouTube chatter, which don't even have that really going on tonight. So I don't know if people kind of either they forgot that we're still on daylight time here in America, or people that are overseas, like our co-host Katie, she's like 6 hours behind us now instead of well from me and here in Colorado.
And here in North America, we will not change our clocks until this weekend. So,
Yes,
do remind yourselves for this weekend to, it automatically, most things automatically, but if you have a clock with a face, which a lot of people, some people in this day and age cannot read a face clock, but you want to
that,
schedule yourself at, was
that's
that 2 o'clock to go back to
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, but like most everybody, say you change all the clocks before you go to bed that night. See, so I got to do that
Absolutely.
on the. I have an analog clock on my wall. See, I got a digital clock on the microwave. Got a digital clock on for my clock radio. Saying I my weather station is still on standard time, so I don't need to worry about changing that. And seeing it's cell phones, they do it on their own nowadays, but
Oh, yeah.
I remember a time where you actually had to turn your phone off and on again for it to recognize the time change.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting old,
And it's
man.
one of the things too. You ask yourself about Star Trek. Starships and star bases. They all ran on different times, and because
Mm-hmm.
you move it away from Earth. Are you on Earth time, or so it's like how do it's just one of those crazy things, especially like in Star Trek right now. Like we talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we know that they operate on Bajoran time.
Which is a
Was
26-hour schedule.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
but But yeah, even in that regard, is saying when they're out in space, they're wanting to make contact with Earth, and just like, what time is it on Earth right now?
I always wonder about that, the
Oh,
discontinuity of like, will somebody approach in the AM in the morning or the PM in the afternoons, or you never know because we have like 24 different time zones in this on this
mm-hmm.
planet.
See, the feeling of being watched, followed, and/or hunted will trigger the natural fight or flight response in the brain. This can make people act paranoid and make rash decisions. Well,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I mean, this like we talked about earlier. This episode brought out like only Cardassian, but it brought out Garrick's. One of the worst
worst
side that we
tendencies.
seen
Yeah,
in Garrick, and it's so funny during the Dominion War. I think it was a ship a hole, ship a hole. I, excuse my language, but it
Uh,
was second
speak
episode. I think it was the
English.
second episode.
What's
It was
that?
the second episode of Voyager, Rock and Shore, something like that.
Rocks and Shoals.
Yeah,
Rocks and
Rocks and Shore.
Shoals. That's yeah. The fifth
Garrick
season of
Garrick was Garrick was teamed with Nog, and the whole thing, it was so funny. He kept Nog kept walking with him at a he Garrick noticed that when he'll stop, and he'll keep him like he told him. He was like, basically, I'm not gonna trust you after what you did to me last year on Empok Noor. You can stay in front of me or stay beside me, but I'm not turning my back on you again.
absolutely. Oh yeah,
What
and
happened
say
in this particular episode?
and of course Garrett commended him for that thought process. And there might be hope for you yet, cadet.
Because he learned something on in this particular episode, in a sense, don't don't trust Garrett. Even though even Garrett, of course, that it's one of those things. Okay, Garrett mentioned that people were starting to be nice to him, starting to feel comfortable with him. And O'Brien mentioned to him, it is so funny. He said about inviting him. He said, well, people want to want to start to invite me to dinner and stuff and everything. He said, well, if it ease your mind, Garrick, I will not invite you ever to dinner.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, that made him feel much better, then.
Oh, Katie's still with us. Advanced station, little more power, and strange noises and goings on can make people crazy. Considering all the what happened, the majority of them did. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
say that of course, yeah, they had minimal power, so I mean, they did it intentionally with the dark lights and everything like that. Just adds to the creep factor in that episode, so which kind of
well,
adds credence to being one of the creepiest of all of Star Trek.
who was it? Was it Stoso that said you got to be worried because the station being abandoned and the voles will
I
be
didn't see any voles in the episode. Didn't hear any
didn't
voles in
see
the
no
episode.
voles in this episode because basically the station was basically they have no gravity, and it was literally probably Garrick had to enter in a one of those spacesuits and stuff. So basically it was exposed to space. So I don't think any voles would survive the vacuum of space.
No, that is a true point. That it, but they weren't completely. I don't. Maybe they were completely sure until then. But yeah, I think that's why everybody loves Garrett Katie is because he's
Yes.
just like a little bit in the head.
He was
But
already kind of, a little bit, like you said, unhinged in the beginning and stuff because, you don't know where the lie begins and the truth ends. It begins with him. The lies and truth ends. It begins with him. And you be like, so what is the truth? And then he'll just leave it as a, big old mystery.
mhm. Yeah, saying brain got derailed there for half a second. But I think the character that gets the zinger for this episode would have to be Odo. At the beginning of the episode when they're up in ops and trying to talk about what to do and try and figure out to get the plasma conduit for
Yeah.
from Empok Nor. And Odo just like, just call up Gold Dukat. Maybe he can spare you a manifold or two. Maybe he might have a spare one laying around. It's like, oh, Odo just like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Odo like the little shot stuff. Even though right now the Cardassian turned out to be he turned the Cardassian into the enemy and everything else and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, let's just call Gold to call up and ask for
yeah, see if
spare
he's got a
parts
spare
and
one laying
stuff.
around. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like not like I said, Nog almost didn't make it on the away mission because he just kept on calling O'Brien, sir, sir, sir. He said, "Call me sir one more time. I'm leaving you behind." Got it, Chief.
Well, say that it's like I know he was enthusiastic. Like he's like
Oh,
Garrick
he.
said, it may recognize your enthusiasm, but you still biologically, not a Cardassian.
Good night, Katie. Like rest,
Take
shut
care,
those eyes,
Katie.
be well.
Yes. Be well, take care, and
Sorry.
get as plenty of rest as you can.
Yeah, so hopefully she'll feel better next week because I'm sure she'll enjoy next week's episode, which I've already showed you, but I'll show everybody else that's watching later on. But like talking about generations, I think it'd be high time for us to do another technically Trek on one of the movies. So see,
Yes.
so on November 17th, the the anniversary of the day I went and saw it in theaters because don't ask me how. Who knows? Maybe they just got the lucky straw or something. But my hometown of Lewiston was able to get Generations on Thursday the 17th, the day before the
Oh.
world premiere on the 18th, which for here ironically is a Tuesday. The 17th is on a Monday, so I figured that's going to be the perfect time to talk about another movie again because we did First Contact close to April the 5th earlier this year, so why not talk
And
Generations? It was
it is
30
so funny.
31 years ago when that movie aired.
31 years ago, and I remember too when it came out because me and my friends at the time, so it was about like I don't know 6 or 7 of us, and
Mm-hmm.
we all just planned it. We was like, it was Friday, everybody, was saving, we were saving our money and stuff and everything else. Of course, at that time, going to the movie wasn't very expensive like it is
Mm-hmm.
today and stuff and everything else. But we all was anticipating, we all had this hype and everything else when we were just talking about it and stuff, and we was like we seen the trailers to it and stuff, and we were just like just so excited, because we was watching Deep Space Nine we watching the third season of Deep Space Nine, and we was just like, how's this gonna tie in? And we were just doing all kinds of speculating and stuff, and then when we came out of the movie, we were pleasantly, sad the Enterprise D was destroyed. But,
Spoiler alert.
we was but we was like, we wonder what is going to what the next Enterprise is going to look like. We always like they destroyed the Enterprise D. We was like, what will the next Enterprise look like? And that's the whole thing that we bought for some years until First Contact and stuff. And Generations was like Tyson said earlier, as they talked about Generations in the movie. It was interesting to see that they started out with the TOS, some characters from the TOS, William Shatner, James Doohan, and Walter Koenig. Their character they portraying Kirk, uh, Scotty, and Chekhov and stuff. It was really good to see them, and then seeing you know for a short time what the Enterprise B crew looked like. And we talked about the last week the communications officer who did a lot of Star Trek, jumping around in Star Trek and everything else. He appeared in Star Trek, and then too before we know who he became Tuvok, was it Tim Russ? He played a human being. He didn't play a alien character, but he played. It was interesting. But I'm glad that we could talk about Generation because, like you said, it's been 31 years And for some of us who actually went to see this in the movie and had a movie theatrical experience, it's going to be fun to re not just rewatch, but like to think about all the you know the movie going experience that me and you have at that back in at that
It's
time.
not gonna, it's not gonna work. It's too much white. See, saw that movie just a few times.
I've seen it 3 times, actually. I seen it 3 times, because, me and my friends, we saw it 3 times. You got me beat. You got me beat. I saw it 3 times. You
Yeah,
got me beat.
I saw it 4 times that opening weekend. I went Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I went, and then the following week was Thanksgiving, and since I was working at the TV station out in Idaho, seeing I low man on the totem pole, I didn't get stuck. I kind of got stuck working. I did get to have Thanksgiving with the neighbors, but the rest of my family went to see the grandparents up north of Seattle. But I ended up staying and working and got a pretty good paycheck for that,
That's
especially
good.
getting double time and a half, something like that on Thursday and Friday. But I had nothing else to do, so I went and saw it again that Thanksgiving Day on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 2 weekends, 8 times.
2
I
weekends,
can't.
8 times. Wow.
I don't remember if I saw it a ninth or a 10th time, but I do distinctly remember those both those 4 day weekends. I saw boom, 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 boom. I've never seen any other Star Trek movie that many times in theaters, but that was the first. I think like
Okay.
First Contact 2 or 3 times, Insurrection twice, Nemesis 2 or 3 times, but
Watched at least 3 times with Generations, Star Trek Generations, Star Trek First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis. I think I've seen them all 3 times. I didn't go more than 4. I think I've seen them all 3 times.
oh,
Not in one weekend. Like one weekend I seen them one, and then maybe the next weekend I would do
see,
2.
since we're kind of going down that rabbit hole, let's say I just gotta mention I actually reconnected with one of my exes recently on Facebook, and not that big of a Star Trek fan, but
Oh,
he did go with me and then two of my other friends to see Insurrection in the theaters, and we were gonna do it when we got home that night, but he just kept on looking at his watch for watching the movie, looking at his watch, and I totally forgot about it until he mentioned it. It's like, oh my God, I totally did that, didn't I? But I told him, say, you look at your watch one more time, the deal is off. He didn't check the watch the rest of the night.
sometimes sometimes you just gotta lay your foot down.
Oh,
You just
I totally did. Because I know he was not interested in it, but he knew he was going to get some if he sat through it. So, which he did, and he did. So, probably a little TMI for some of our new viewers, but welcome to the chaos. Um,
yes, we
back,
technically take a track.
the, but back to
Oh,
the episode. See, I totally lost track of my notes here, but okay, I already mentioned that. Um, yeah, we were kind of touch. You mentioned it earlier, just when Nog goes up to the upper pylon to get the tool that he conveniently forgot. So I mean,
mhm.
there's just a series of events that you look back at it, and it's like, hmm. See, how did the Cardassian? I mean, was it just complete happenstance that Nog forgot the tool, goes back up to the runabout's floating away, and the runabout explodes? Just the just a sequence of events there. Say, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts? It's just
And
like just a weird coincidence. They would have just heard the explosion had he not forgotten the tool, and
yeah, I mean, if he did not, if he didn't forget the tool, and he wasn't alert to, that that's something wrong. Who will disengage the runabout from the upper pylon and
mm,
then set it to explode and stuff and everything else, but then too. uh the thing where the capsules where the two Cardassians was in,
Mm-hmm.
you
The
know,
stasis tubes.
who yeah, the stasis tube was a Pachetti and um the Bolian guy,
Mm-hmm.
they found them, and it's like, okay, you gotta think about this. These two stasis tube have been reactivated. The other one is not activated. Of course, it was damaged. The third one, and, the stuff like that. It's like there, logic clearly deduced that there are, there are two people or two Cardassians most likely still on the station. They got woken up and stuff like that. But it was like you said, a lot of sequence of events that happened up to the point where Nog just happened to forget the tool and he actually seen because at that point they didn't have they wasn't like scanning for it. They wasn't even thinking of nothing about it or scanning and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, a dampening field got set up and their tricorders stopped working. I was like, oh, that's just coincidental that the moment that they start talking about their tricorders stop working and stuff and everything else, and it's like you can't set your tricorders to scan for other life forms and stuff and everything else. It's like y'all totally blind now, unless y'all
Yeah, but
found that.
the dampening field affected the tricorders, but not the communicators.
No, no, it affected it was like one of the things like communications still work, but the tricorders. mm, but their
How
phasers,
convenient.
their phasers, the weapons still work too.
Mm,
So I guess
true.
it was very selective. I guess it was selective in dampening scanning devices.
Mm. Yeah, selective dampening. Yeah, but not Nog though. Just his senses were heightened to almost an amusing level because as he's just kind of going around the course, he just just those little grunts that he's putting out as he's kind of just flipping around, just making
That
quark
was
chicken his
that was pretty
surroundings.
fun. That was pretty funny watching him do that little sequence and stuff. Let's talk about wait real quick. I don't know if you noticed too in the beginning where uh Quark inside Quark was hearing that Brian and Nog are working on a conduit and stuff. I was like, y'all for real supposed to have really good hearing. I'm surprised y'all are not like, doing this to y'all ears or anything because of the loud, repair work going on and stuff. And I'm surprised, Nog was able to, you know,
Yeah,
s-
yeah,
to stomach the, noise because, I'm like, you guys got sensitive hearing and stuff and all this noise and you helping O'Brien repair this.
well,
Unless you got dampening stuff in your ears,
yeah. I was about to say
that got me.
Space OSHA would probably have him wearing some sort of protective
One of those little things to
earplugs
go
or
inside your
something.
ear.
Yeah, as I'm scratching my ears because I just allergies can be a bitch sometimes. As they just
Oh
like
yeah.
the deep itches is saying I'm disconnecting the camera briefly so I can scratch the inside of my ear so people don't witness me like digging in there too much. Um, yeah, so yeah, one of these days I gotta try and just like write my notes a little more legibly because when I'm watching it I just scribble, 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 scribble. See, I can read it at that moment, but when I get to the point where say I actually have to read it, it's like, oh crap, what did I say here? Um, oh, one of the things that I noticed is say when Pachetti and that the other Avaro, I want to say no, the security officers that he was paired up with on the promenade, they did that up
Stolsoff?
shot. Hmm.
Stolsoff?
Stolsoff, yeah. And say there's a barrel that's kind of tipped on the side. And say I didn't even see this on IMDb. It looked like the the Felicium barrel from Symbiosis from season one of Next Generation because it had all
Hmm.
the the small tubes packed up into a bigger container. It looked a lot like the Felicium containers.
Okay, okay, that's pretty.
You're
You
probably
know
gonna
how
have to you're probably gonna end up rewatching that now.
you know how they reuse a lot of props and stuff that you see, and
Oh,
be like
oh,
that looks so familiar, you know.
yeah, same. But I actually just noticed that today. It's just like Felicium container, and I actually wrote down Felicium without having to look back at the episode, which is like, oh my god, that's a. It's like, what is that? Oh, Felicium. But look at some of my other notes. Thought it was a zinger. I was actually hoping for more participation tonight. Saying so, I don't know what's going on there, which is kind of a bummer. Maybe people are prepping for Halloween. I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where we're coming to the end of the month, and it's just
Mm,
you know one of those things.
but oh, itch in the ear again.
But I mean, like I said a little while ago too, that this wasn't one of those episodes where, in a sense, because it was the end, it was getting close to the end of
The
season
season.
5, and
Yeah.
it was getting to the season finale, and they would want the big coup de grace to be like, "Oh, look, guess what? We are getting ready to, you know, s- drop this big bomb that uh, Starfleet or the Federation is ready going to war and stuff and everything else." Like I said, it wasn't a lighthearted episode, but it was one of those things where it's like, wow, man, that pretty, that sucked. That sucked for a lot of, well, for the 4 Starfleet officers that
Yeah.
went on this away mission and they didn't come back alive. And where Garrick said to about Amaro, because he killed Amaro, and it's like, dude, they understand that you was under you know a psychotropic
Under the
drug
influence. Yeah.
and stuff and everything else, but yeah, it would have been very hard for him to approach her and express his deepest sorry, that he killed her husband,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, but
But
the go from this episode to a more of a light-hearted episode in the cards, and then
yeah,
the penultimate episode just kind of like went
yeah.
happy, cheery to holy crap.
Um,
Saying so.
it it was just one of the things where it's just like, wow. And then, when the season finale came, it just seemed so somber and
Hmm.
dreary, and just like, they made it feel like, what is going on? What's happening? What is going on with this? Because like you said, the previous episode was just really like a little bit lighthearted and stuff, but between this episode and the season finale, it was a pretty heavy heavy heavy, not dark episode, but it gave like a really pit in your stomach.
Yeah, but like I said, it just yeah, it's just like one of the dark ones. Is saying it just goes dark, 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 dark. Doesn't hop to a B plot at any point. Saying it's definitely the an atypical Star Trek episode where it just stays on one wavelength throughout the entire show.
Mhm.
But well, in the cards, I mean, I think it kind of goes along to say the same aspect. I mean, it kind of deviates a little bit off of the main line, but it kind of rounds back to the main storyline. So like the Jake and Nog trying to get a Kukulaka back from Lita,
Nah, Kukulaka.
getting
Yep.
Kukulaka, and like those other things, like Jake writing the speech for Kira, Nog tried to find the imperfections in Worf's opera recordings. I mean, say it all kind of, but they kind of ebb and flow, and then they just all connect at the very end. So it was very seamless when it came to that. Whereas this
hmm
is just
hmm
bam, 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 just like rapid fire.
And like you mentioned too, there was no B plot. It was just this.
Yeah.
It was just a complete A plot that just happens to deal with, you know, an away mission. Just it was a salvage away mission and stuff.
Hmm.
Supposed to be routine and stuff and everything else, and turns out it wasn't routine. Hell, you know more than half the away the people on the away mission didn't even come back. You
More than
know,
2/3 of it didn't come back. So
right? I mean, it's like it was still a fun little episode too. Like I said, right up between you know uh the ending and stuff and everything about going into the Dominion War and stuff. It was pretty nice to see them. It was pretty nice to see not the main cast members besides O'Brien
hmm
was part of it. Yeah, they showed them. It was a Julian, Odo, Kira, Worf. Everybody they did
Jack,
it
Sisto, yeah, they
once and
had
stuff like
their
that.
yeah. It was a low. I think you said it earlier in the episode, if not backstage. It's definitely a lower deck style episode where it just had people from the lower rungs of the ladder predominantly, other than O'Brien.
Right, right, yeah. And I knew too when I watched it. I was like, okay, some of these are not coming back because just the way it was set up, I'm like, oh, we got our so-called red shirts. It's gonna be somebody's gonna end up getting killed. It's gonna be like two or three. I didn't think it's gonna be like, oh, four of them. Like, oh, heck.
Mhm.
But yeah. But if anybody's in the chat or anything want to come and talk to us, because are
Yeah,
we
if
gonna
not, we're
conclude
just
here in a
gonna.
few minutes, Dave?
Yeah, I'd say I just like yeah, I'm just like See, not getting a lot of participation tonight, which
Ah,
is okay.
Tyson was able to join us. I was glad to see that he joined us and stuff and everything else.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
mean, everybody, go ahead.
yeah, I actually texted him right before the show started, say you've been missed, and then sure enough, he pops in.
Yeah, and like he said, it's so crazy to know when you live somewhere for so long, so much stuff that you procure that you got to like go through and be like, oh my goodness, I have this, your garage and everything else. It takes forever to go through your worldly possessions, to
Well,
see what you want and what you do not want.
yeah, and then it's amazing. I've only been here just a little over 2 years now, and then what I came down with, I was able to squeeze into a small Chevy Spark, and now I got all this stuff now. So
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
see, I'm not looking
absolutely.
forward to my next move, but whether it be further down the road or sooner rather than later, I don't know. Only time will tell. We'll see what fates await me down the road, but whoever my higher power is, I know they will provide for me as needed. So, but
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
for the here and now, it's like I'm happy with what I got. I think my next item to procure is a larger desk. Well, it's either that or what I can do is I can just well, ooh,
One step at a time. It's all
one
one step
step at
at
a
a
time.
time.
Yeah, but no, I just got one of those simple little IKEA little screw the legs onto on a piece of wood, and bam, I got a desk. I can always try and find a second one and make my own little L-shaped desk. That'll
Oh,
give me a
The
little more
Toronto
real
Blue
estate.
Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays are up 4-2 LA Dodgers.
Hmm. And I say low
Uh-oh.
key though, say I since the Blue Jays beat my Mariners, I am root for the Dodgers. See,
Of
I
course, of course,
when
of
I
course.
when I was growing up, the Dodgers were my team. I was a big fan of Oral Hershiser. I had a section of my baseball card collection. God, I cannot say that. Just my card collection. I had a section for just his baseball cards, and like when I worked at AT&T many moons ago, as in I actually had him call in as a customer needing help with his BlackBerry.
Wow, that was many moons ago. BlackBerry.
Yeah,
Oh
it
man.
had been like 07, 08, so yeah, going on 20 years now. But but yeah, yeah, we're not supposed to gush when we get a celebrity calling, but I gushed. And saying I distinctly remember just laying back in my chair, folding my hands. I was like, I'm not supposed to do this. I'm going to do it anyway. You're my favorite ball player growing up as a kid. My card collection had a section for just your cards. He just started busting out. He just busted out laughing. He's like, wow. I was wondering when someone's going to finally recognize my name. It's like, yes. but but AT&T say to test the resolution, say I had to do some provision issues, and oh, thanks for
Yeah,
joining us, Cole. Yeah,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
a legend, and saying, yeah,
yeah.
it
He
was
was.
great. But like I said, it takes 20 minutes for the system to reprovision itself. So to make sure that he doesn't have to call in again, had to keep him on the phone, make sure it works, and bam, call over. So I got this BS with him for a half an hour. Just talk baseball, talk computers, talk cell phones. Yeah, see, I got the BS with one of my childhood favorites growing up, so I thought that was freaking cool as fuck.
Wow, yeah. Talk about a serendipitous moment.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay, okay. That's pretty neat. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
it was pretty cool. I still have the pin to pin message saved on a backup somewhere from him, just thanking me. I'll see, and of course, oh thanks Brittany for the repost, but we're getting
Yeah,
close to
thank you, Brittany.
wrapping it up tonight.
Yeah, we're finishing up here in just a minute, a couple of minutes or so.
But
Thank you for joining us, guy.
oh totally. But see, so for next week, and see, I hope Katie will pop back in because I was saying as I kind of already wrote the teaser for next week's episode we're going to discuss. It's going to be a bit of a quantum leap situation because we got Sam Beckett and Al. Oh, why did I just blank on Al's last name from Quantum Leap?
Yes, Cole. That
Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
that would be something. If you
Scott
do,
Bakula and Dean Stockwell re join each other again after years. Yeah, Dean.
Dean
Oh,
Stockwell.
oh no. Yeah,
Are you
see, yeah, yeah. He's not high on my list, Cole, personally. So I've heard some of the stories from the past, but I mean, out of all the Star Trek that I've met Walter Koenig, I've met George Takei, Grace Lee Whitney. I missed an opportunity. Not nope, idiot. I did meet Jimmy Doohan at a book signing back in like '97, out when he was living out in Redmond,
don't
Washington.
forget
So I had
Star Trek, was it Star Trek 3?
yeah, Christopher Lloyd met
You
him
met
as well.
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, he played Commander Crew.
Yeah, I was saying yeah, but I elicited really out of George Takei when I told him that I was going to visit the Tule Lake internment camp up in Northern California, where his family was held for a good portion of World War II. You say I only knew about that because I actually read his autobiography that I picked up for $2 on sale at a grocery store, the hardback edition too. So,
The hardback. Okay,
but
okay.
yeah, and this was before. Yeah, now yeah, the master of ceremonies, the MC for Grand Marshal. That's the word for the Seattle Pride Parade back in 2014. So, yeah, got to meet him. Um, but yeah, saying I did meet Marita Sirtis is the only Next Generation actor that I've met at a convention, and that was the same convention I met Grace Lee Whitney.
And also, Cole, Dave has met. There was a character that was only for 2 seasons in Star Trek Voyager. His name was Ichib. He met Manu Intiraymi. He lives right there. Actually, they're friends right there in Colorado Springs. Manu
Yeah,
Intiraymi.
yeah, he only lives a couple miles down the road from me, so saying the the personal interactions have been infrequent because of with all his work with Click Tight and all that, and work life, all that BS that we have to deal with. See, all Star Trek actors. See, I don't even. I mean, we're such buds. Don't even think of it. It's just like 2 years. I haven't even asked for his autograph. So
I'm sure he'll find some way to give you an autograph and stuff.
who knows? No,
Yes, yes,
no
you're right.
big.
Small world. It's you'd be surprised. It's a big world, but small world indeed.
Indeed, it's a small world after. Oh God, I cannot sing. Ever since I hit puberty, I cannot sing. I think I can sing, but I can't. My sub vocal oscillator only works best in the shower, so confine.
Isn't that
I'll
what seven?
confine
Isn't
my
that what
sing.
seven of
I'll
nine
confine
told?
my.
I was gonna say, isn't that what seven of nine told Neelix when he wanted singing lessons? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I like that
so
little scene.
yeah, but like I say, yeah, next week we're gonna talk about the Enterprise episode Detain, which brings Dean Stockwell and Scott Bakula back together. Well, I'm tired. My brain's just not braining right
I
now.
feel you on that. I gotta get up
But yeah,
early
see,
for myself.
it's been a while since we talked about an Enterprise episode. I was thinking about talking about the 2 days and 2 nights. Do think we did do that episode at one point when we were still doing the show on Twitter. So I figured, yeah, we'll save that one for another day. But Detained kind of hits home since I was talking about the internment camp in Tule Lake, since that's where a bunch of Suliban were being held against their will just
Pro,
for.
real quick before you go,
Hmm.
if you come back and see us, and you can interact with us like we are right now live. If you're camera shy, you don't have to be on camera. You can be on audio. You can just use your you don't have to show your face or anything, or you can continuously chat with us like you doing in chat and everything else. But like, we are one of the few features of a few uh I'm so tired
Podcasts.
today. Yeah, we want to put a few podcasts that allow interaction with us live when we're live and stuff. And there's a link down below that you can click and you can actually join us. You can talk with us, you can interact with us and stuff, and you can give us like and subscribe and stuff. We enjoy
The
the participation with any and everybody who's new to this and stuff, because we have a little friendly discussion. Sometimes we can get a little technically off track, but we try to keep it, in and around Star Trek and everything. And we enjoy people's input, whether it's opposite of any of ours and stuff. So you're welcome to come back. Please bring others and stuff and everything. Like I said, anybody who wants to interact with us um, via camera or audio or chat, we enjoy the participation.
well, absolutely. So like, subscribe, share. We're here every Monday at barring a major holiday because we've tried doing this on holidays and the viewership is almost nil. So it's like, yeah, if Monday's a holiday, no episode. But yeah, wow, we're up to 25 viewers now. Say, dang, where were you guys an hour ago? But yeah, we used to be at 5 o'clock Pacific time. We're going to be on at 5:30 now. But we're just kind of playing it by ear a little bit, see what it's what it's like. I don't want to make it too late in the day because I'm more West Coast. Travis, you're East Coast. As in
Yeah,
my our regular host, Katie, she's way out in England. So I mean, we do get people on here. Sixer, the one of the creator of Star Trek Defiant, he's been popping into some of our shows. Um, a great YouTube
Sixer.
series. Check that out. Um, God, there was another
And
thing I was gonna
and
say.
this show, this particular channel is is basically off what me and Dave have always been part of. It's called Dangerous Thoughts with Mono and Raimi and Tyson Strasberg. Mono Raimi, who played Ichab in the last couple of seasons of Star Trek Voyager, created Dangerous Thoughts and stuff. And they've been on a hiatus and stuff. So they will be back doing their podcasts and their shows and stuff and everything else. And he's involved with Click Tights recording studio type things and stuff that he's been dealing with heavily and stuff. But he was on just recently a few weeks ago giving us an update and stuff. So our parent, channel is Dangerous Thoughts, but this is where we talk. We keep it this around with Star Trek and pop culture and stuff and everything else. I
Oh
kind of like to
yeah.
throw in a little fun, up to date news if have to do with Star Trek and everything else, or just in general and stuff and everything else. But we keep it like pop culture and stuff.
Oh, so yeah, we'd love to hear from you on next show or so, Cole. But
Yeah.
actually, next week we're going to talk about Detained. Don't know the episode that's going to be after that just yet because sometimes you just play it by ear.
And
But
you did say too we are going to talk about Star Trek Generations. So anybody who's
yeah,
watching this and stuff like that, Star Trek Generations came out 31 years ago, and it was on November the 17th. You said
eight. Well, the episode this episode is going to be the 17th. It had its
okay,
world premiere on the 18th, but
okay.
some people saw it on the 17th, myself included. And it's
So
actually
we're gonna have a
it's
long, lengthy discussion. We're gonna have a long,
yeah.
lengthy discussion on Star Trek Generations here in a few weeks.
Yeah, and God, it's been a year since I was on Strange New Pod, another great Star Trek podcast that's on Thursday nights, and insane stuff. But yeah, life has just gotten in the way. I haven't been able to be as active with their channel as much as I used to, but I need to get back into that. Get back into watching one or two of their episodes. So my dream is to be as big as them, but they've been at it for over 5 years now, and here we are, just at least here on
Okay.
YouTube, a year and a half, going on 2 years. So
But like I said, anybody and everybody is welcome. We all like a little friendly, talk and everything. Even though we don't discuss, we have different opinions and stuff. We enjoy everybody's participation. So if you want to participate with us, feel free to participate with us. It is free.
it
We're one
is.
of a few things. We are one of a few channels to offer participation when we're live.
Yes. And I just had a brain blast. I want to show it to you backstage, Travis, but I just figured out
Okay.
what I got to get the okay from whoever created it first. But I figured since we're going to do Generations on the 17th, that's the episode I'm going to put it on and say, but yeah. So until next week, everybody, may Spock be
Peace
with
and
you.
long life.